Hey, how are you doing today? I'm so happy to be here with you. We're starting the next live stream, and today's topic is going to be really important. Hi everyone, let me know how are you doing this week? What are your plans for the weekend? I hope you're doing fine. Let me know if you can hear me and if you can see me. And yay, Andrea is here. Oh, wow. Hey,
Hi.
hi.
Hi, can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you
Yeah,
perfectly.
that's
I can
great.
hear you perfect. It's so nice to see you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here because today we are going to talk about really incredible and important topic. But first, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing well. So, I'm based in Lisbon, so today it's very warm here. So, but yeah, all good. And how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good in such a hard time for me here in Poland, but I'm okay. I'm doing everything aligned with my values, and I know that I am stronger than I thought a few months ago. So I'm pretty sure that it will be fine. And
As
yeah,
long as you stick to your values, and I think everything eventually goes well. But yeah, I know it's challenging. So,
yeah. So can you tell us a few words about you, who you are, what are you doing, and then I will share with your audience few words about me, and we can start with our topic.
yeah, sure, sounds great. So, my name is Andrea. I'm based in Lisbon, Portugal. And I have OCD since I was very young, so probably since I was 10, I believe it was the first time I started to have symptoms. But aside from OCD, because not just that, uh, I work in marketing and I have a dog. She's currently here near me and
Oh wow.
so apologies if she starts barking. We're probably going to hear something. But yeah, in general, I really enjoy this advocacy work. So I would like to invest more a little bit than I do at the moment because of all the work and everything. But it's really important to me to be able to reach out to the community and be engaged with people who have similar struggles as me.
Yeah.
But I would say that that's probably me. And yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, and thanks to this community, we were able to meet each other and to connect and to live stream together. So it's really important to me also, this connection between people with OCD in this community. And I'm really glad that we are here. So uh, for your audience, I'm Lucas. I'm from Poland, and I was diagnosed in 2023. So first diagnosis was when I was 18, but it was diagnosis without proper treatment, without any advices. So I spent my whole life with untreated OCD. And since my diagnosis, I started talking openly about mental health, about OCD, and I think this advocacy part of my life is really important because it helps not only me but also other people. That's why I want to talk openly about different topic around mental health and especially OCD because it is something that is this is often misunderstood. People are judged and feel really lonely. So we are here to break the stigma and to talk about mental health. But our today's topic is really interesting, and I'm so happy that we decided to talk about this because sometimes I'm really scared of how dangerous it can be. So we are going to talk about AI, ChatGPT, and I think technology and OCD. And the main question is if it is like harm or it is support. And we both know that the answer is that depends.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about this?
Well, I think technology in general, not only AI. So if we think about like technology since like the beginning of the internet and things like that, I think it has been a mixture of benefits and also more harmful things for OCD in general. Because I remember when before I even was diagnosed, I used Google a lot, and I was actually using forums as well to kind of, try to understand a little bit more my thoughts. And I was actually, I think I was at the time looking for reassurance, actually. So, so it's just, so what I think is that, so it was always a tool for reassurance. I mean, I think that if we're looking at the bad side, I feel like it's more like reassurance seeking. I think it's one of the more difficult and the more challenging problems with technology in general. Also, but with AI now, what happens is that you have like an interface that you can interact. So it's like, so I think it fuels even more, the reassurance cycle, because it doesn't
Yeah.
end like you do a search and then you see. Before you used to see like, okay, so let's imagine, for me, one of my main topics is contamination and health OCD, so a lot of health anxiety and stuff like that. So I remember looking for symptoms and things, so I would look page and page after page. Now what you do, you have like an interface which you interact with, and it keeps replying to you. So I guess that's, in that sense, it's even more dangerous, because it will fuel more and more the reassurance cycle. So I think that the reassurance and the compulsive behavior, it can be really like empowered by this AI now, because it's always been technology, but now I feel like it's a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think previously people use Google to Google their symptoms, to look for reassurance, etc. But now AI and ChatGPT is even more attractive for people, because what people Googled years ago, now they can talk in real life for hours, and AI can be really personal for someone, and it feels real. It gives us questions that we can ask again and again and again.
Yeah.
And this is easy way to fall into the trap of AI, because OCD wants certainty from us, and ChatGPT or AI can give us an illusion of certainty.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's just and I guess it's the dangers of having like, you keep yourself in the loop, and the false sense of certainty. But then sometimes, like you were saying, it can be very personal to some people. And what we don't always realize is that AI doesn't really have consciousness. So it's just it's an algorithm that it's based on information that already exists. So I think like one of the more difficulty, the more challenging parts is also the fact that you feel like you're talking to someone, but no one is actually there, so like even I've been hearing people like using as a therapist and things like that, and it's a cognitive an empathy which doesn't really exist, because we can all relate. Like when you're talking to the LLM, that what they're going to say is like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that," and "Oh, you're totally right," So it's like, and you feel like you're talking to someone, but you're not talking to someone, and AI can get what they call hallucinations, which is basically they don't really. At some point, it's even providing you false information. So there's a problem with misinformation. There's a problem of feeding the reassurance cycle, and also a big danger, which is people feeling like they're having, therapeutical help from AI, which I don't really think you can get that. So I guess there's a lot of challenges here. So
yeah, and what I said previously, that AI is instant tool that can give an answer. I'm not thinking about good answer or bad answer, but
yeah,
answer for our questions. And it is like, there is in AI no judgment. You have instant access to answers. There is no shame because you're talking with
machine.
AI,
Yeah,
and it is really dangerous, especially when people are not aware of this danger. And maybe guys, if you were looking for reassurance and ask question to AI, let us know in the comments, because I think all of us used things like Google, or even support groups like Facebook groups
yeah,
for looking reassurance, because it is really easy access to ask someone that we don't know to get even a part of answer that we were looking.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's I think the instant part you talk about, I think it's really dangerous because uh, the way for people with OCD to get better is really to cut the compulsive behavior. And so the compulsive behavior usually is like, incited by the emergency that you feel. Sorry, oh, my white coat went off.
Well,
um,
enough.
so it's about the emergency feeling you have, So most of the time, we have this emergency, so we need to do things because it's compulsive behavior. And I think that the fact that now you have like an instant answer, you don't really you're always in the loop. You're never going to stop, because you have something that it's for you like in the moment, so you're just going to continue to use. So I think that's
Yeah.
the yeah.
Yeah, and it's much easier to get reassurance from AI than from your close ones sometimes,
Oh
because
yeah.
when you wake up in the middle of the night, you are not going to wake up everyone to ask if I'm bad person or no. I can use maybe sometimes, yeah, but much easier is to ask ChatGPT, and you have this answer immediately. What makes this even more dangerous?
Yeah, and especially because like with people, I mean, if you're already diagnosed and you have like people who are close to you, they already, in some ways, they're aware, or at least they are starting to get a little bit trained on how they should react in those answers. So they already have some filters, please don't be an enable, don't give reassurance. And with AI, you don't really have that. So you just type whatever you want, and they're going to
Yeah,
give you an answer. And it can be really dangerous because there's no governance around this, and everything that is related to health, I think it's quite dangerous. So, and if you think about it, well, I can speak my experience. When you type in Google, you're always going to get the worst case scenario most of the time. So you just
yeah,
get stressed about it, and yeah, so it's not very. Again, I think it's quite challenging to understand like what's the right amount of usage, how should
yeah.
we use, and people don't really are not aware, especially people who are not diagnosed. I think that's the
Yeah, I think so. When people are not aware of their OCD and how to cope with OCD, what to do to not engage with intrusive thoughts and with compulsions, it is even harder to fall into this AI loop, because
yeah.
earlier people Google their fears, and now they have opportunity to make a hour-long conversation with ChatGPT, and this is like, ChatGPT is for you 24/7,
Yeah.
and you have access all the time, no matter where you are. And yeah, of course, it can be helpful when you use this with awareness for different types of action. I use ChatGPT for English translations, and that this is okay. I think so. It helps me a lot. But especially when you have OCD, it's really, really easy to fall into this trap.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think it's just like, for instance, I use, actually, well, in my work, I need to use, actually, I need to promote IT services, and AI is part of IT services. So I need to kind of promote this type of tools. I do think that AI has some benefit, a lot of benefits actually, and can be really helpful in certain aspects, you know. But again, I think it all comes back to awareness and how you feel like, and how
Yeah,
do you use it. And I think that's the most challenging part for most people, because even not just, you know, strict OCD, in many cases, I feel like I hear people like asking for, you know, couples advices in ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, and I think there's all of these contexts that a therapist has, you know, that he or she can provide, you know, to you, more help than a machine who doesn't really have any context. She's just going to answer you based on a prompt. That's it. And
yeah,
again, people feel like a false sense of empathy from the other side, but it's really not you know, a person that we are talking to. So I guess it's just it's difficult. But on the other hand, I feel like one of the things I think it can help, and it would have helped me probably a few years ago, because since like my OCD is what you people usually call pure OCD, so I don't really have
yeah.
visible compulsions. So it
Mhm.
was very challenging to get a diagnosis,
Yeah,
especially especially a few years ago, where people didn't really talk about OCD a lot, especially only the contamination part. You know, it's probably what I heard here in Portugal, and we're still a very conservative country in some things, so mental health was not very involved at the time.
Mhm.
So it would have helped me if I would have something that, for instance, I would just type my symptoms, not necessarily my thoughts specifically, but like, oh, I usually have these weird thoughts and I do these things, you know, and maybe it would have helped, like, in getting a sense of maybe this is it, you know. Or maybe this is something that it can be worth exploring. So I think it can help us gain awareness that maybe um, what you're feeling is probably due to some certain, you know, disease, or like OCD, or any other mental health issue. It can help you, but I don't really think it should be used as a tool to, well, to diagnose, obviously, but it can really help you getting a sense, I think, in that phase. But aside from that, I guess it can be really challenging, and harmful in reassurance seeking cycles
yeah,
and all that.
yeah. I think also one thing is important to remember, because we need, I think, not only OCD sufferers, but everyone, we need to use our brains. And sometimes
Also,
using ChatGPT, we turn off our brains and started using ChatGPT. And this is especially dangerous because there is something like neuroplasticity. And when we are not using our brains to do something, to cope with intrusive thoughts, to not engaging with compulsions, but we start just asking questions to ChatGPT, or we start asking questions about how to do this, how to do this, how to do this, and even with simple tasks that need to use our own brains, we can we can harm ourselves, because for many things we don't need to use ChatGPT. Sometimes it is much easier to do something with ChatGPT, but I don't need ChatGPT to tell me how to brush my teeth or something.
yeah,
And sometimes I have feeling that many people use AI for even simple tasks.
yeah, I completely agree. And you see that, well, in work you see that a lot. Like people don't even like write emails anymore. They just type everything in ChatGPT and they send emails for them and everything. So I feel like and what you were talking about neuroplasticity is really interesting, and I feel like it's something that is really important, not only for now, but in the future. And it's not only AI. I feel like with social media in general,
Yeah.
I think it starts there, because you're like doom scrolling for a long time, and then like your brain shuts down in a way, and you're not using it, so
Yeah.
and I feel like people should probably be more aware of that, and it's challenging. I know that for instance, even for us, like we use social media to connect with people like us, and to engage with people in the community, and we also need to kind of understand like what's the actually appropriate amount of usage, so
Yeah.
that we don't get that sense of always online and always getting stimulated. So I guess that it started with social media, and now with AI, it's kind of all merging into a situation where you're like not using your brain. And I was reading on the other day that I think that this new generation is the only generation that didn't upgrade their IQ or something like that. And I guess it's
Yeah.
probably related to like the lack of cognitive abilities. It's like because you're always like you used to like instant gratification. So I think that's the most challenging thing,
Yeah.
Um,
And also there is still pressure on us that we have to work harder, we have to do more, we have to fill our day as much as we can to use this time, and we forget to take rest, we forget to just think a bit longer, but think and do something by ourselves. And that's why probably people started using technology, AI. Of course, this is so helpful, but when we stop thinking and start using only ChatGPT, we can go to the really dangerous corner when one day we can stop function, because without ChatGPT, we will be not able to do anything.
yeah, yeah. I think as well. I agree. I think it's we're getting to a stage where people the idea of AI is like to be more productive, and we are in this era of maximum productivity, which is something that for me it's also a bit concerning. We need to rest, we need to like, we're not machines, so there's
Yeah,
because even you see, like if you see about people in corporate, it's like, oh, they're oh, I worked so many hours and I didn't take holidays, oh my god, like it's that's not a good thing. So and I feel like it's getting like that with AI, and you're just getting to a point where you just really want to make sure that we get things done quickly, to move to the next thing, so you're not really thinking about what you're doing, and that comes back to a bunch of problems, I think, like socializing and all of that. Like your people forget how to socialize as well, because you're just socializing
yeah.
with machines, and we're social beings, so we really need to connect with others and empathize.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And this what we said at the beginning, that this community is really important to connect with people, to talk with people, not only through the internet, but in real life,
Yeah.
is really, really game changing. And that's also why I think the next question is so important, because so many people think that social media, Facebook groups, AI, ChatGPT can replace therapy.
Okay. I
And
yeah.
and so my answer is that no, ChatGPT can't replace therapy, because this also can be so dangerous, because ChatGPT will know us only because we are putting some information in there, and as many people in this world, as many different types of mental health problems, mental health conditions, different personal disabilities, or even different types of character. And through the internet, for me, sometimes through the internet it's hard to go to therapy, like when I am not able to go in real life to my therapist, I don't feel 100% comfortable to talk through the internet because I like being on the same space. I like talk in real life. And I think also in real life, you can see a lot of signs that someone is stressed or not. But of course, online therapy is so amazing because people who live far away from the main cities can go to therapy. But using ChatGPT as normal therapy is something that scares me. That scares me because so many people use ChatGPT as their best friends, as their soulmate, as their therapist.
Yeah, so to answer your question, I don't really think like AI can replace a therapist for many reasons actually. So if you think about it, that what I was saying in the beginning is doesn't have consciousness. So so it cannot think. They just use data that it's stored somewhere and they answer based on the prompt you gave. So
Yeah,
so I guess that's one of the big things in terms of AI is that you're not talking to a person, you're actually talking to a machine. And then it's all of the context that the therapist has, and also obviously all of the credentials and years of studying and years of experience with people and so on. So I feel like it's really not possible to replace all of those things that you have with the person who already knows you, who or is getting to know you, and has experience with other people and with certain types of therapy, and also the knowledge about all of these mental health issues. So I guess it's not possible to replace a
yeah.
person.
And I think ChatGPT engine is looking on the internet for informations,
Yes.
and this is not possible to fit all those information to one person who is struggle with OCD, but really often there are many different mental
Yes.
health conditions like ADHD, autism, trauma, bipolar, and people with OCD can struggle with different types of mental health problems also at the same time. And without knowing this, even for real therapists can be extremely hard to see some symptoms, some
Yeah.
things, to see the difference between what is ADHD, what is OCD, what is autism. And this is why the answer for this question is absolutely no. ChatGPT can't replace therapist. And yeah, I think we can be really careful when we start creating relationship with AI. Because when we will use this, like being aware, we can take from this a lot because it is a tool that can help us, but we have to know how to use it properly.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like you can use AI, for instance, with your therapist even, like let's simulate some exposure exercises, to
Yeah,
do. And you're working with your therapist and you're, using for that, but you need to be using in a way that it's aware of it's dangerous, that, and again with someone who's certified. So I guess that it can use to help in a lot of things. And I feel like even in therapy you can discuss with your therapist, for instance, like this case I gave. I think it's something that it's possible, again. But replacing, I don't really think it's something that it's reasonable, even considering you were talking about other diagnoses that people have as well. But even OCD manifests itself differently in many different
yeah,
people. So it's like what AI is doing is picking up, you know, the general knowledge that the Google or Bing or whatever browser has, and applying it to a specific person. And for instance, for me, my OCD can be very different from the symptoms can manifest in a different way than someone who's like um, who has visible compulsions, for instance, you know. So
Yeah.
so just that difference, it's like you need to have someone who understands the disease and can understand like how it can manifest itself, and that every person is different.
Yeah.
And even certain, you know, characters. People sometimes say, "Oh, people with OCD usually are very shy." That's not always the case, you know. It's like even those type of things. So it's
Yeah.
just like I guess it's very difficult to replace. And again, for me, it's just like it's a machine. Doesn't really have a consciousness. Even people think, even in the way that like it communicates, people sometimes think it's thinking, and it actually mimics. If you see sometimes in the ChatGPT or something, it says thinking. It's not thinking. It's actually
Yeah.
browsing through the data. So it's
Yeah.
just no. Yeah, for me, it's an absolute no. I think therapists are a very valuable assets. I think they're super important, and I'm happy that's like as we go by and with time, people are going more and more to therapy and being more open about it as well and talking about it as well. So I think it's not possible as well
Yeah.
on my perspective.
Yeah, absolutely agree. We have one question here. I have a question actually. I feared ghosts a lot since I was a kid. I couldn't sleep alone. I used to cry like every other kid, but even though I'm an adult now, I can't sleep alone even in daylight. And fact is, I'm an atheist. I know nothing exists, nothing gonna happen. Even after that, I can't sleep alone. I think this is a question or a problem that we can't solve here because, as we said, OCD can be connected with other things like trauma, for example, and it is something that someone can figure it out with therapist because it is not possible to solve or answer the question through the internet without knowing someone, without knowing what is going on, what was going on in their childhood, and there is a lot of options. What can be the cause of being not able to fall asleep? It can be trauma, it can be OCD, it can be everything.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think it's like, and we ourselves are patients, so it's just
Yeah, we are not specialists, so
we're
yeah,
talking based on our experiences. The
exactly.
only thing I can suggest is finding, a specialized therapist that covers. If you already know that you have OCD, I'm not sure. Someone that is specialized in CBT, and if well,
Yeah,
or trauma, because based on what you said, but something like that, I
yeah,
would suggest finding some specialized therapists. So for me, it helped me a lot. That
yeah,
was game changer.
absolutely. And I think now we can talk about benefits of AI because there are a lot of
Of course.
benefits when we use this properly. And I think first thing that for me is really helpful, and it is like also Google, Internet, ChatGPT, it's psychoeducation.
Yes, yeah. I think it educational. If you want to know something more about the topic, I think it can really help
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
And it's nice, especially. I mean, now I feel like things are evolving, but for a long time, like, so mental health was kind of a stigma to talk about. I mean, I think it still is, but people are more and more open. So I don't think it's as stigmatized as it was a few years ago, like in my grandparents' time and so on. But I think it's good that you can actually educate yourself in these topics. And with and technology, I think it really helps a lot to bring information to people who are in countries that they don't really talk so much about. That's one of the things I actually notice a lot in my page is like people sometimes reach out to me from countries that and they say, oh, I don't really have a lot of access to mental health information in where I am. So I think it's good in that sense. It can give
yeah.
people access to educational content.
Yeah, you can find resources
Yeah.
thanks to AI. You can even, if uh, many resources are in English. For example, IOCDF page is in English and probably few other languages, but not in Polish. And it is pretty easy to translate this thanks to ChatGPT to Polish. And you can have access to the knowledge, to the educational stuff. And yeah, that can be really helpful for people who can speak different languages.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I noticed as well across the years is like well, in Portuguese, you don't actually today. I don't think you find a lot of resources about OCD. We just created like recently Portuguese OCD Foundation, and I think it was last year. So we don't really have a lot of information in Portuguese. So I think that what you were mentioning is also very useful for people who don't really speak English, because most of the content is in English, or you can use AI to translate or to find resources more, or actually to help you find quickly more resources even in your language, because sometimes it exists, we just can't find them. So I think it's just it's helpful on that sense, to kind of help you get through the content in your own language, and you can actually type in your own language and they bring content as well. So I think that's a good one as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I think at the end we can say it that ChatGPT can be really helpful for learning, and it is perfect tool for learning, for education, but it can be really dangerous as it is like reassurance seeking machine, because it can do a lot of harm for people, especially for people who are not aware what really helps and what doesn't help in their recovery journey.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think like it has a lot of benefits, again, like with what you were saying about learning and finding information more quickly. Even like I want to find all the good therapists about on OCD on my area, things like that. It can help you really find information quickly, which I think is useful. And again, I think the biggest challenge is effectively reassurance seeking for people with OCD. I think it's a very dangerous tool, especially for people with OCD, because of the way that the disease manifests itself. It's like you're always like you have compulsions, and one of the main ones is actually reassurance seeking. So I guess that if you keep engaging with the machine without understanding without understanding that you're actually doing a compulsive behavior, you're not going to be able to stop. So I guess that's one of the ways that it can be really harmful. And also, again, we've heard about other things as well, like sometimes people have the suicidal thoughts, and then AI is kind of providing wrong information, and I feel like it's really dangerous about everything that it's mental health related. If you're like trying to get advice which should come from a therapist, I think it's very difficult. So I guess it's just a balance that people need to have, but I feel like people also need to be aware first, and sometimes it's challenging as well.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Guys, if you have any questions for us, just ask. We have a few more minutes. And I think also that for summarizing this, because AI is a tool, and it isn't like think that if it's good or not, because it isn't a problem. The problem is, or we have to answer the question how we use ChatGPT or how we use AI. If we use this for our recovery, like psychoeducation, like going towards recovery, or if we use this to fuel our OCD, this is question. So for us, this question is pretty easy, but for people who are not aware, can be extremely hard, because people who are at the beginning of their recovery journey, they are looking for help desperately everywhere. And sometimes it is hard to understand that something that feels like short relief, it is more dangerous than doing absolutely nothing with our fears, with our intrusive thoughts. And I think all that we were talking today is about awareness about OCD, but also about awareness of how dangerous, how helpful can be ChatGPT, and understand the difference between using this properly and using this fueling our OCD.
Yeah, I think it's just again, I think it's a balance between how you should use it, and I think that's the question you need to make. You need to question yourself how if I'm using this in the wrong way or the right way. For me, I think it's like as a person, like how does this impact myself? But I guess this comes back to a lot of things, not only ChatGPT. Again, I think it's social media, like even people without OCD, like are you being healthy in your behavior? Probably not, but you're probably not aware that it's not healthy for you, that the way you're engaging. So I get it comes a lot. I guess people need to be aware of the risks of using these type of tools for mental health issues and for other problems as well. But especially for people with OCD who have compulsive behaviors, again, I think it's really about awareness, like you were talking about, and making sure that we are conscious about what we are doing. I guess the biggest challenge, and I don't think we can solve that, is like for people to be aware of that, and for also to make sure that people who are undiagnosed, I think is the most challenging. How can I don't know. I think that there's still a lot of things to kind of work on AI. Probably a little bit more of governance in certain topics. How, but I guess it needs to come from regulation or something like that. But I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But certain topics should be more cautious in how they're communicated through these channels. Yeah.
Yeah, but also that's why we are talking about this,
Yeah,
because with small steps, with talking about mental health, we can help few people, more people, we can make small difference, but it is still difference for people.
Of course, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I'm really happy that that you joined me today for this conversation, and I hope one day I will visit you in Portugal.
Yeah, hopefully as well. I'm happy to receive you here. Thank you for having me, Lucas.
Yeah, thank you so much for today, and see you next time. I hope this is not our last live stream, and we can do many conversations because we know how important it is.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Have a
Thank you
lovely
so
weekend.
much, Andrea. Bye.